Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wasallam. We start our program with Brother Yusha events, inshallah. Well, first and foremost, we'll start with the best of all speech, the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Muhammad al-Fatih would open with the Quran, inshallah. Tafadhal.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم فلما ذهبوا به وأجمعوا أن يجعلوه في غيابة الجب وأوحينا إليه لتنبئنهم بأمرهم هذا وهم لا يشعرون وجاءوا أباهم عشاء يبكون قالوا يا أبانا إنا ذهبنا نستبق وتركنا يوسف عند متاعنا فأكله الذئب وما أنت بمؤمن لنا ولو كنا صادقين وجاءوا على قميصه بدم كذب قال بل سولت لكم أنفسكم أمرا فصبر جميل والله المستعان على ما تصفون وجاءت سيارة فأرسلوا واردهم فأدلى دلوه قال يا بشرى هذا غلام وأسروه بضاعة والله عليم بما يفعلون وشروه بثمن بخس دراهم معدودة وكانوا فيه من الزاهدين وقال الذي اشتراه من مصر لامرأته أكرمي مثواه عسى أن ينفعنا أو نتخذه ولدا وكذلك مكنا ليوسف في الأرض ولنعلمه من تأويل الأحاديث والله غالب على أمره ولكن أكثر الناس لا يعلمون ولما بلغ أشده آتيناه حكما وعلما وكذلك نجزي المحسنين
بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. How's everyone? How is everyone? You guys are good, alhamdulillah? Okay. Alhamdulillah. As I've said many times here, that whatever befalls the Muslim is khair for them. So it's alhamdulillah. Does it mean that we are not allowed to complain and have problems? Yes, of course. I'm in pain, constant pain. But alhamdulillah for everything. The Prophet alayhi salatu was salam. Yeah, I can use that one instead. Sure, Habibi. Live on Facebook and YouTube of the message. It's on the ICT live, inshallah ta'ala. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, that no Muslim is harmed even by the pricking of a thorn, but it is an expiation for sins. So I have two small points before we get to the crux of the topic, and I will be brief tonight, inshallah ta'ala. But before even that, I just want to apologize that my brain, due to the fact that the medication they have me on now, I'm on two different medications that together make my brain in a cloud all the time. It's very hard to arrange thoughts the way I'm used to arranging thoughts. So I will likely jumble up some of the things that I want to say, or speak much slower, or take pauses, just to make sure what I say is what I really want to say. That's the unfortunate fact about some of these medications. And I'm not a person, anyone who knows me personally knows I'm I'm very big on homeopathic remedies and things of that nature, and do not like prescription medication. But I'm also a person who understands when he's reached the limits of what he can handle. So I've accepted some of those things. One of the medicines I take is called gabapentin, and anyone who knows prescription medications knows that's a very heavy medication that's used for nerve pain. It's also used for other brain issues, as well as oxycodone, and everyone knows that's a very dangerous medication. It is effective for pain, but it does really wreck the rest of you. You don't feel pain, but you don't feel much else either. So forgive me that I'm a bit clouded, inshallah ta'ala. Even the Imam noticed today you're a little slower, your tongue's a little slower, and that's just because my tongue and my brain, the synapses don't work the way I want them to. My speech becomes slurred sometimes and things of that nature. So please forgive me. What's the next holiday that's coming up in America? Thanksgiving? I think Thanksgiving almost gets skipped nowadays because they can't make as much money off of it. Halloween. I just wanted to mention that, inshallah, because I won't be here with you guys again until or after that, inshallah. Halloween. Anyone know the origins of Halloween? Trying to explain the origins to you to understand why that this is not something for a Muslim. Halloween. All Hallows Eve. All Hallows Eve. All Hallows Eve came from the pagan Celtic tradition. Pagan Celtic tradition of Samhain, which was their New Year. The Celtic New Year ended at the end of summer and the beginning of winter. And they would have a celebration where they would light bonfires and dress up in costumes. And they believed at this day, at this time, was it practiced on October 31st? No, we don't, but this is what it's become. But All Hallows Eve was a day where the Celtics believed that there was a mix between this life and the next life. Kind of very similar to what is the day that is celebrated in Mexico and Spain and another place. It's called the Day of the Dead. The Day of the Dead, where they believed that the dead would come and walk amongst us and spend time with us and things of that nature. So they would leave out offerings for them. This is where trick or treat originated from. They would put on masks and tell fortunes to each other. This is where the costumes came from. Then it became, during the Roman period of Christianity, during the Roman Empire, they realized how kind of devious this holiday was, so they changed it to what's known as All Saints Day. All Saints Day, where they celebrated the saints who had passed away. But there's not as much money in celebrating an All Saints Day, so when they realized you can commercialize All Hallows Eve into Halloween and sell costumes and candies, America will capitalize upon anything that they can make some money off of. And it's proven that it does work, because 1/4 of all candy sales in the United States of America are for Halloween. So this is just not something, anything that traces itself back to a clear pagan practice, a clear, uncut pagan practice, is something that the Muslim, inshallah ta'ala, tries to avoid, bidnillah. So that's my point in reference. Any questions about Halloween before I go on? Yes, young lady. You like candy? You can have candy any day of the year. You don't have to wait till Halloween, as long as your parents give you permission. But too much candy will rot your teeth, and it's not good for you. Sugar addiction is one of the worst addictions that young people face this day and age. Sugar is as addictive to the brain as cocaine. Sugar and other hard drugs like cocaine, they trigger the very same responses in the brain. And if anyone is addicted to sugar, which I had a sweet tooth for a very, very long time. Even sometimes I still indulge, but my wife knows that she caught, earlier in our marriage, I used to always have a drawer full of candy. And she was like, what in the world? You're a grown man with a candy drawer. And as soon as I cut it off, you have very bad withdrawal symptoms. But sugar is something that is damaging in large quantities, so it's something that you should avoid, inshallah ta'ala. Keep the kids away from too much sugar. When it comes to the da'wah of the Prophet ﷺ, which we talked about today, I wanted to try to point out some things about the holistic approach of the da'wah of the Prophet ﷺ. Because we need to change the dynamic of the approach of da'wah in the United States. And the reason I say that we need to modify the approach is because I've seen the approach that we've been taking for the past 15 years, and that approach is all well and good, alhamdulillah, but it's not as effective as I believe it should be. It's not effective as I believe it should be. Because I see that at least 75 to 90% of the da'wah initiatives that I see in the West are for the intention to bring people to the shahada, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Except we're missing one primary fact that I've talked about many times in this masjid. What is the point of da'wah? What is the point of da'wah? What is the point of da'wah? To get people to take shahada? Transfer knowledge? I mean, you guys know I don't ask rhetorical questions. What is the point of da'wah? Saving people from hellfire? Yes, of course. But what is the goal and aim of da'wah? To get people to worship? Yes, but no. Da'wah is to invite people to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the difference. Just invite. Does anyone, if you invite me to something, do I have to accept your invitation? No. Should you be offended if I don't accept your invitation? No. You might have other things. So da'wah is clearly to present Islam. To present Islam the way the Prophet ﷺ had it revealed to him, and to invite people to accept it, and then leave it at that. Leave it at that. The goal is not to, the goal, meaning that our aim is not to get them to take shahada. Because why? Because that's between them and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hidayah is in the hands of Allah Azza wa Jal. Hidayatul tawfiq, meaning the person's ability to have their heart change, is in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He can only guide them. Because if it were up to us, then, and if it were up to how effective we are in da'wah, then don't you think the uncle of the Prophet ﷺ would have accepted his da'wah? Yes, of course. He tried harder with him than he tried with any other human being on the face of this planet. But he did not accept it. And this was a lesson. This was a lesson for our Prophet ﷺ when his uncle did not accept Islam and died upon kufr. Allah reminded him, you cannot guide whom you will. You cannot guide whom you wish. I guide whom I will. And I know best those whom are guided. So the goal of our da'wah is to share what we have. To share what we have. And to allow people the opportunity to make an informed decision about Islam. Yes or no? That is our job. That's our job. What is going on right now is we're in the political season, right? Every 2 years. We're in a minor political season, then you have a major political season. The minor political season being the election of governors, the election of Congress, the election of Senate, and things of that nature, right? You have all of these people out trying to spread their message. And what is their goal? Their goal is to get elected. But how do they do so? They do so by getting out to present their platform. What can I do for you, right? What do I have to offer you? Right? That's what they're doing. They go to campuses, they go to churches, they go to, I'm sure some of them might have either visited you now or probably will visit you at some point, to present their message. This is my message, this is how I can help, and this is why I think you should elect me, right? This is what our da'wah is based upon, is that we are showing what we have to offer. Showing what we have to offer, that this is what Islam has to offer you as a human being. This is what Islam has to offer society as a whole. This is how it can change and mold society to be a better place. And this is why I'm asking you to become a part of this system. Whether or not you do so, that is up to you. Just like a candidate can ask you and tell you the amazing plan they have to change the city of Nashville, or to change state regulations and policies, or on a national level, and then they ask for your vote, yes or no. Do you have to vote for them? No. You don't have to vote for them, but they present to you their ideas. This is what our da'wah is about presenting the message, but also with the air of understanding that it does not matter to me whether or not you accept this message. It makes no difference to me whether you accept Islam or you do not accept Islam. If you accept Islam, it's for your betterment. قُلْ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهُ تُفْلِحُونَ. If you believe in Allah, you will be successful. But if you do not accept that message, I am not despondent about that. I am sad for you, but it does not change my goal or my perspective. So I try to share that with every single individual. We need to be more upfront about what we have to offer. What we have to offer. Rather than trying to get everyone to become like us, we need to be more on the level of, this is what Islam has to offer the world. This is what Islam has to offer the world, and that needs to be done on a much grander scale. What does Islam have to offer the world? And it needs to be looked at in that perspective, because we as Muslims are not offering what we should offer, and I've explained that so much, that we are not affecting society in a positive manner in the way that which we should be. But this is what Islam can do and what Islam can offer. Because we live here in the West, but we want everyone to benefit from this system. One of the misinformations I see, or one of the negatives, I've been speaking to a lot of non-Muslims lately and asking them, what is it about Islam that Americans are so afraid of? What is it? What is it about Islam that terrifies Americans so much that just the very word or the connotation brings about fears and apprehensions? What kind of responses do you think I've been getting? What kind of responses have been doing this? Yes, young man. Yes, I do, young man. Yes, I do, young man. May Allah bless you, young man, and raise you to be salih and the next imam of this masjid. Say Ameen. Ameen. What do you think Americans are telling me? Why are they so afraid of Islam? What is bringing them so much fear? Sharia? Yes, but what does that mean? What does that imply for them? Terrorism? Yes, but what does that imply for them? Restriction of freedom? The response I've been getting a lot is that, here's it, why are you guys, everyone else, America's very inviting, right? We are, let's not be, it's not so inviting, but the idea of America is that it has an open door policy, that people can come here from anywhere in the world, any walk of life, any religion, and take advantage of the freedoms and the prosperity that America has to offer. So you have people come here from all over the world, and what do? They fall into line in society, and they become a productive member of society. But you Muslims come here, and now you want to come here and bring your way of life and your sharia and put it over everything else, and you guys want to rule over everything. This is one of the main ideas that I get. And why do people think that? Why do people think that? I'm asking you, I'm not saying I know this answer, but why do people think that? Where do they get this from? Are you guys trying to take over everything in Nashville or something? Yeah? No? You guys haven't tried to overthrow government yet? No? It's the media, yeah? These types of, yes, to be afraid that we're coming to overthrow everything. When in reality, to do so, Imam can correct me if I'm wrong, to do so is against the Sharia itself. Because we have been invited, I'm not saying we because I'm born and raised here, but most of you who came as immigrants were invited and welcomed into America. And under that idea that you are allowed to come here and practice your faith, you are forbidden under the Sharia to try to subvert the system in that way. Yes or no, Imam? This is not permissible in Islam. So I tell them first and foremost, this is not permissible. We're not allowed to do this. We're not allowed to do this. They say, really? I said, no. If you look back, the example of the people who immigrated to Abyssinia, the people who immigrated to Habasha, yeah? Does any of you know how many people immigrated to Habasha, immigrated to Abyssinia at the time when the Prophet ﷺ and his companions were under the worst persecution? 83 men, roughly, and I think 18, 19 women immigrated. Now, when they moved there, did they try to subvert the system? Did they try to overthrow the government? Did they try to impose their will on every single person? No. They went there and became productive members of that society. Why? Because they were allowed under the king to come there and practice their faith freely, and they were grateful for it. They showed gratitude to it. Even when they were brought up in front of the king, they were grateful for his hospitality. They were grateful for his hospitality. And they said that the reason we came here was because we heard of your justice. We heard of your compassion. We heard of your freedoms. And we just wanted to come here and practice our faith. And they, of course, gave him the da'wah, which he eventually accepted, but they took advantage of that freedom. They took advantage of that freedom. Why we are not sharing that same message that, look, we are here to be a benefit to society, not to overthrow the society. We would like to change society in ways that we see it can be improved upon and helped. But that is under the premise of the fact that we care about human beings, as I talked about in the khutbah today. This is why I am slowly changing some ideas that I had very early on about being very aloof from the processes that go on in America. No, we as Muslims should be influencing every aspect of the society. Every aspect of the society. Our Prophet ﷺ even reached out to elites and kings and governors and princes and so on and so forth, because he also understood, even with the Quraysh, he would focus attention on the leaders of Quraysh, because he understood, if I can affect things at a top level, then I can affect things all the way down the chain. Does this mean that all of us should join the political process and start running for office next year? No. Don't go too far and say I said things I didn't say. But we should be involved in understanding how things work, because the laws of our society affect us, and the laws of our society also can benefit or harm us. And part of our da'wah should be to help affect that positive change. And it does not always have to be under the premise of Islam. It does not always have to be under the premise in the guise of giving, what is the word I'm looking for? The English word for da'wah, proselytization, where we're trying to tell you that our way is right and everything you have is wrong. Our way is right and everything you have is wrong. No. We are trying to say that we want to be involved in anything which is going to cause positive change in the society, because we as Muslims believe that helping humanity is ibadah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is a core tenet of Islam. That to help human beings for the sake of Allah's pleasure is worship to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Prophet ﷺ said, he who alleviates the burdens of his brothers, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will alleviate his burden on the day of Qiyamah. In a lot of these hadith, the ulama have said, like when the Prophet ﷺ said, you wish for your brother what you wish for yourself, when he mentioned brother in a lot of these narrations, they meant brother in the general sense of humanity. That you do not truly believe until you want for other people what you want for yourself. And for sure, the best thing that we want is what? For sure, that principle will always remain, no matter what our da'wah is. What do we want for ourselves? Jannah, we want Jannah. We want paradise. So you do not truly believe until you want for other people what you want for yourself. The highest of that being paradise. The highest of that being paradise. What are some other things that we want in this life? In this life, what do we want? If someone came to you and said, look, out of this world, in this life, what do you want? Health? You want health? If you want health, how many would agree you would like to have health? Trust me, if you do not raise your hand, you are out of your mind. Wait till you lose it, then you'll pay everything for it. You would pay everything for it. Health. Health in America is declining. Health in America is declining. Obesity is increasing. Diseases are increasing. This is also a sign of the day of Qiyamah. The Prophet ﷺ said during the last days, because there would be diseases increasing amongst humanity in which they never saw before. But health is declining in America, and the healthcare system is, finish that word for me, the healthcare system in America is corrupt, broken, expensive. Wallahi, it's expensive. Trust me, I know. So, if we want health, then we should also be involved and want that for other people. Be involved in the conversation for healthcare in America. Absolutely, because trust me, you might think that you're young now and you don't need to care about the healthcare system in America, and then when you get old and you need of that system, then you wish somebody had done something before you. And I know this is very weird off the topic, but this is what I'm talking about, this idea of being involved in positive change. What else do you want in your life? Al-afiyah. Yes. So you want, trying to think of the proper English. Forgiveness, general khair. You want prosperity, right? You want prosperity? You want to live comfortably, right? You want to live comfortably. What else do you want? You want to live in peace, right? You want to live in peace. You want to live free. Yes or no? That's one of the main reasons many of you immigrated here, or your parents immigrated here, your grandparents immigrated here. You wanted prosperity and freedom, right? Absolutely. So if you want that for everyone else. So that means that you have to be involved in helping that positive change, because it's going to affect you. It's going to affect you. We as Muslims need to be the leaders in this. Let me tell you what's in danger here in America. Freedom. Freedom is in danger in America right now. Freedom. Absolutely. Freedom. I think it was Benjamin Franklin who is quoted for saying, those who will give up their freedom for security deserve what? Neither one of them. Those who will sacrifice their freedom for security, they deserve neither. Because they learned a lot of lessons from their time in the United Kingdom and realized that the same road that the UK went on for them to need to leave is the same road that we could end up on, and we're going on. So freedom is in threat in America. Freedom of the press, freedom of religion, freedom of speech is at threat here in the United States of America. The healthcare system is at threat here in America. It is broken. It is broken. The justice system, the criminal justice system in America is broken. Racial inequality is a problem, yes or no, here in America? Is there racism still in America? Absolutely. If not, if you don't know that, you live under a rock. You live under a rock. There is still racism here in America. Gender, what is the word I'm looking for? inequality. And I'm not saying that the genders are equal. Everyone who knows me knows I've laid out very clearly that we are not equal except in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but we are equal in terms of the rights that we have, in the capabilities that we have. But are we exactly the same? No, that's just silly. We're not the exact same. I don't want to be the same as a woman. I would never want to be, and I don't know many sisters who want to be a man. No. I mean, there are some out there, gender dysphoria, but that's not a topic for today, inshaAllah ta'ala. But all of these things that are a threat to the society around us are going to affect us. They're going to affect us. So if we are not part and parcel of the solution, guess what you are part and parcel of? The problem. If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. So we as Muslims need to get more involved. And the reason why I say that is because the more we get involved in affecting positive change, the way the Prophet ﷺ was involved in affecting positive change, then if we get involved, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will indeed bless us and turn people's hearts towards us, because people will begin to see that these people actually care about more than themselves. More than themselves. Because that's also a huge poll that I've taken online anonymously. I didn't want anyone to know it was coming from me, but I've gone on a few platforms and put out some feelers and some surveys. And there is an overwhelming understanding that Muslims care about no one but themselves from non-Muslims. That Muslims care about no one but themselves. And I've been saying that, unfortunately, for a lot longer than the non-Muslims have been saying it. And with that idea, there comes this disdain towards us. That you came here and you live here under the systems of America, the freedoms of America, the rights of America, yet you don't care about anyone else. You don't care about anyone else. So you become an unwelcome guest. Would you want someone that you invited into your home? Yeah? You gave them refuge in your home. I'm not saying you're all refugees, but you're allowed to live here. You allowed someone to live in your home, and they did not care about anybody else but themselves. They made noise all hours of the night as if you didn't exist. They dirtied up the house and didn't clean after themselves. They did not care about anyone else who lived there but you. How long before you didn't want them there anymore? How long would you be before you said, okay, you know what, you've overstayed your welcome? Shape up or ship out. Right? This is how the general Muslim community is viewed from the non-Muslims, is that we are unwelcome guests because we don't care about anyone but ourselves, because we're not involved. So we need to try to get more involved, inshaAllah ta'ala, in helping affect positive change in the society, because the Prophet ﷺ, this is the way he designed the companions radiyallahu anhum wa ardahum to be. We see this because when they would go and travel after his death and spend time in foreign lands, like many of the companions who traveled to Asia and etc. They went there. They didn't overthrow the system. They affected positive change from the inside. And that change eventually led to the entire system coming over to the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's worship and under Islam. That's because they actually cared about the welfare of the people there. They care about the welfare of the people there. Because I think it was Martin Luther King Jr. said a threat to freedom anywhere is a threat to freedom everywhere. So if we do not take advantage of these things that we are afforded under the American system, we will lose them. We will lose them. And I want more than anything, even if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala were to take everything away tomorrow and I were to die tonight, I would like to know that the 11 years I spent running around the globe affected positive change somewhere. Somewhere. Even if it was within one person that decided to get up and make a positive change in their community, I would hope that it meant something, inshaAllah. This is the legacy that we need to leave behind, is that we made a positive change and an effect in society. Have you guys, since my last few times being here, started any initiatives to get involved in the local community? Yes or no? No? Not yet? You should please make committees, at least one committee here, it can be fully volunteer, an outreach committee that is involved in getting involved in projects in the community that are making a positive effort. You don't have to start it, you don't have to initiate it, you can even join it. I don't care who's the ones that are doing it. I don't care if it's the Christians that are doing it right now. I don't care if it's the Hindus that are doing it. Whatever it is, if it's a movement towards good, make a presence known amongst the Muslim community. Send delegates and people from the Muslim community. The only thing they do is show up and say, we're here to help. How can we help? We're just here to help. We're not here to overthrow or overtake, or no, how can we help? How can we be of service? We need to be more involved in that, inshallah ta'ala. Even if it's the smallest thing. Even if you get 10 brothers and 10 sisters that say, look, once a month we're going to get together, we're going to meet here in the masjid for Salatul Fajr, and then we are going to go to the local soup kitchen. You're going to go to the local soup kitchen and rarely turns down anybody who's there to lend a helping hand. You're going to show up at the local soup kitchen and say, look, we're here to help. What can we do? Even if that means that you're going to end up washing pans and pots for the rest of the day because that's what they have for you, then you do so. Then you do so. And then you come back the next time, and the next time, and the next time, affecting that positive change, showing that the Muslims are here to contribute to their community. Alhamdulillah. Make it regular. Make it regular. Add to that. Add to that. There needs to be a very heavy presence of the Muslim community felt in the local community. That's the effect change, the change that I'm trying to see that we affect, is that our presence is felt. Not just because of our open houses and our da'wah and we're calling you to the worship of Allah subhanahu. That should not be all the Muslims are known for. That is not the da'wah of the Prophet ﷺ. His da'wah was a da'wah of effective positive change and caring about the condition of human beings. Caring about their condition, eradicating injustices everywhere. Based upon the system of Islam, yes, but standing up for justice, standing up for inequality, standing up for human rights. Human rights. If we as Muslims see human rights trampled and we stand by and do nothing, then we are part of the problem. Because it is an effect to our rights. To our rights. We stand up for that change, inshaAllah ta'ala. That means first and foremost, you become aware. You make yourself aware. Knowledge is power. Make yourself aware of what's going on in your local community and how you can contribute and how you can help. It does not matter how many of you want to get involved. Just get involved. Because if we don't affect that change, then I am very afraid Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to ask us, what did you do? What were you? The world was in chaos around you and you did nothing. The house that you were living in was burning down and you sat on the couch watching TV as if it didn't affect you because you lived in your own little glass bubble. Yeah, the whole house is going to burn down, it's not going to touch me. This is how we as Muslims have lived for far too long. Far too long. How else can we affect a positive change? What are some other things that you think we can get involved in? I want to ask you because I want to see these things happen. I've been traveling too long and talking too much. I want to start seeing change. This is my goal from now on, even after the 6 months or whatever, how long before I'm able to start traveling again. My travels are not going to be focused on just going and giving talks and leaving communities anymore. I want to go and get involved in projects and change. Insha'Allah ta'ala. I've done enough talking. There's plenty. I've almost exhausted myself in talking. I want to start going, and the next time when I come back, hopefully after my surgery, when I come back to Tennessee, it's going to be a weekend of change. Rather than having a talk, we're going to get together and we're going to go out and help the community, inshaAllah ta'ala. That's going to be, from now on, I'm changing some of the focus. Yes, we'll have a talk on Friday, mashallah, I'll join you for the Salatul Jummah khutbah, but Friday evening, let's find something positive that's going on in the community, or if not, we'll initiate something ourselves, invite the local community, and address issues that are affecting our local communities, inshaAllah ta'ala. And I've talked about that with many other people who've invited me after my surgeries. I've had many MSAs who've reached out to me for the Islam Awareness Weeks next year and stuff like that. I said, yes, that's fine. One day I will do a talk about Islam and whatever you want me to give the information. But the next day we're going to focus the talk on something that is affecting the society, that has nothing to do with Islam on the outside, but everything to do with Islam on the inside, something that is affecting your local community, whether it be racism, whether it be social inequality, economic inequality, women abuse, child abuse, drug abuse. We're going to focus on these topics that can help, because I want to try to show how Islam, and with our studios that we're going to work on, inshaAllah ta'ala, we're going to start making programs like this that show how Islam can affect change within the society based upon its principles. Rather than just talk about it, we need to start being about it a little bit more. What are some other ways that we can affect positive change here in Nashville? What can you do? I want to know, because I want to see it start getting done. What can you do? There should be an outreach committee here at the masjid. Even if it's 2-3 brothers and sisters who are volunteers, there should be an outreach community that finds out the needs and the problems of Antioch and Nashville and overall, and how we can involve. And then get with other masajids and try to come together and affect this on a larger scale, inshaAllah ta'ala. What are some other things that we can do? You can visit hospitals, absolutely. The Prophet ﷺ talked so much about visiting the sick. Yes or no? Did he say sick Muslims? No. He said the sick, visiting the elderly. Let me tell you something. How many of you are under the age of 40 in here? Raise your hand. You're younger than 40. Raise it all the way up. Let me give you a glimpse of advice. Go sit with old people. Go sit down and have conversations with your elders. You will learn so much. You'll gain things that they have for you that you'll never get in a book. You'll never get at university. You'll never get from videos. You'll never get from anywhere else. There are so many elderly that are sitting in nursing homes with no one visiting them, no one to talk to, a lifelong stash of experiences that they've seen that they would love to share with almost anyone, but yet they're just sitting there all alone waiting to die. We as Muslims should care about that. We should care about that. The Prophet ﷺ said, those who do not respect the young and the old amongst us, they're not from us. They're not from us. They're not from us. Here as Muslims, we should always take care of our elders. But there are a lot of non-Muslims out there that are just sitting in nursing homes waiting to fade away, who would love anyone to come to them and have a smile and show that there's concern about them and let them talk. Small things like this, you might write it off as minuscule, but when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala becomes pleased with you, even if it's because of a small thing, He turns people's hearts towards you. What are some other ways we can get involved? Visiting the sick, visiting the elderly, visiting orphanages, right? Community cleanup. Getting immigrant and refugee problems. How can we help the immigrant and refugee crisis that's going on? And how can we be on the forefront of that, inshaAllah ta'ala? Protest, we'll leave that one for another time, young men. Protest, I'm mixed reviews about some of them and the reason and the purpose, but I want to talk about things that we all agree upon are 100% going to affect positive change. Feeding the poor, anti-drug campaigns, like what is the big one that goes around to schools and stuff like that? The DARE program, I think that's what it's called, DARE, D-A-R-E. DARE, that's what it's called right there. We used to have McGruff, the crime dog, come. I don't think he's even really popular anymore and come to our schools. But being involved in the DARE programs and the campaigns to raise drug abuse awareness and things of that nature. Sisters, especially for you. Spousal abuse, battered women's shelters, battered women's syndrome, support groups for women who have been abused. You can be involved in these things. You can be involved in these things, and shows that the Muslims care. And I don't think you would understand how shocked people would be to see that Muslim women show up and are trying to help with battered women. They would be like, what? Because they already have this weird oppressed idea of you. But to show that you have some care and concern will affect more change than you really understand. And showing up there, not showing up there to convert people. We're not here to convert, we're here to help. We're here to be of assistance. How can I help any of these battered women and battered women's shelters? How can I be of assistance? Because I guarantee you there are a number of battered women's shelters here in Nashville, Tennessee. They could use your help. They could use your help and could use just, sometimes a woman just needs someone to talk to. So that would be there for you, because we need to affect this positive change, insha'Allah ta'ala. I hope that is made with my clouded mind right now. I hope that makes sense, that our da'wah is more about than just proselytizing and getting people to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes, we want everyone to accept Islam. That is our desire, because we want them to go to Jannah, and you cannot go to Jannah without the deen, and without Islam and without Tawheed. But we also want to live in a world that is peaceful. We want to live in a world that's just. We want to live in a world that's honest. We want to live in a world where our children can grow up and not have to worry about themselves. Because this world is a very, very different place than when I grew up. I used to go outside and I would be out in the streets almost all day long. And my rule is, when the street lights come on, you need to be in the house. Now I'm afraid to let my children out of my sight. This is the world we live in now. Parents, am I right or am I wrong? You're afraid to let your children out of your sight today. They'll say they want to go and play in the yard. I'll say, yes, that's fine, as long as I can still see you. As long as I can still see you. And then I'm still stressed the whole time they're outside in the front yard or playing in a cul-de-sac. I live in a cul-de-sac. And it just worries me, because we live in a very odd world today. And I don't want my children to grow up like that. You know, I don't want them to grow up always being afraid of everything. The only way we can help that is to affect a positive change. In your neighborhood, there's probably a crime watch program. If not, initiate one, crime watch program, get involved. There's a crime watch in my neighborhood, and I'm trying to get involved. And how can I help police our streets? Meaning that, you know, you want to see positive change in your neighborhood. We need to start doing things that are going to be effective. We need to start doing things that are going to be effective. Our lectures and our conferences and our open houses, they're all good, but they're barely scratching the surface of what we need to get involved in, insha'Allah ta'ala, in affecting change in the society. Because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam changed the world. He didn't just bring the world to the understanding of Tawheed and bring people to the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He changed the world. If you look at the society of Medina and Arabia at the end of his life, people lived in prosperity, people lived in peace, people lived in justice. There was justice done. And we want to show the world that that is what Islam has to offer. That is what Islam has to offer. And that we care and have some genuine concern. How else can you affect the positive change? A couple more ideas before I start bringing it into a close and wrap it up. Okay. Yes, absolutely. Connecting your children to the Quran is very important. What I'm looking for is how can we affect a positive change in the problems that are affecting Nashville right now as a Muslim community. How can we get involved in helping Nashville? You get what I'm saying? Helping Nashville. How can we help this city? New Muslims. Yes, we have to take care. Is there any organized imam? Is there any organized plan for new Muslims here in the masjid? Imam? Is there any organized plan for new Muslims here in the masjid? When they take Shahada, you have an organized system for them. You're planning. It's something you should work on, insha'Allah ta'ala. One of my recommendations, and I think maybe I've spoken with the Imam about this before, is I call it the Ansar system, where you have a group of people in the community and brothers and sisters who come forward and say, look, I'm willing to take on the role of helping a new Muslim. So that when someone takes Shahada, this is the way we do it and the way I've trained them to do it in Minneapolis. Let's say someone comes to the masjid today and they take Shahada. Let's say it's a sister, a woman. I look at the list of sisters who have agreed that they will do this, and then I make a couple of calls and say, sister, we have someone, this woman who has accepted Islam, will you take her on? And if you say yes, then you then become responsible, and you've been trained to do this, you become responsible for teaching her the basics of Tawheed and Salah and Tahara and Wudu, and you become responsible for befriending her, bringing her to the masjid if she wants, seeing if there's any needs that the Muslim community can help her with, especially if she maybe has a family situation that's going to become weird now that she's accepted Islam. Whatever her needs are, that she needs from the community, you become the liaison between the two, those, insha'Allah ta'ala. And you keep up with her. The same with a brother. If a brother takes shahada, I have a list of names. I call brother, this young man just took shahada. Will you become responsible for him? Yes, okay. Because the imam can't do it all. Don't expect the imam to be able to do everything. So we have that type of system that we have set up, insha'Allah ta'ala, for new Muslims. Because if we're not keeping new Muslims, as I talked about in the khutbah, if our customer service sucks, then we need to stop selling our product for a minute. We need to revamp the whole system. Hold on a second. Let's revamp the whole system top to bottom, so that when we sell our product and people come to Islam, we actually have a customer service system set up to take care of them, insha'Allah ta'ala. Because now I'm all about change. What can we do? What can we do to actually make some positive change? In Minnesota, yes, sister. Yep. The sister is talking about investing in jobs that help, like working for nonprofits or even volunteering for nonprofits. Volunteering or working for things that are invested in helping the community. Yes, Muslims need to be involved in that, even if it's not your full-time job. Even if you say, 2 days a week I'm going to come here for 2 hours and help this nonprofit with my talents. If I'm a doctor, I'm going to show up at the free clinic and say, look, I want to try to, volunteer 2 hours out of my week or 3 hours out of my week to come and see patients for free. And understanding that this is what we're trying to do. If you're an accountant, maybe you go and say, I'm going to volunteer with this nonprofit to help overlook books and things of that nature. Nonprofits never turn down free help. Trust me, 100%. They never turn down free help. And we as Muslims never turn down anything that's free sabilillah either. Not free sabilillah, free sabilillah. We're very good on that. So we need to offer the same thing, insha'Allah ta'ala. Affecting some change, insha'Allah. Like in Minneapolis, you don't have the same problem here. You don't have the roughest winters that we do here. We have a group of brothers, a team of brothers in many masajid. There's about maybe 100 masajid in Minneapolis, but we have strategically picked certain masajid that cover the main portions of Minneapolis, where we have a team of brothers and sisters that whenever it snows, we make sure that we go out and shovel or try to find, we wait till maybe, if it snowed very hard the next day, normally people who can shovel their driveways, they're up very early in the morning shoveling their driveways because they need to get to work or whatnot. But then we will go in the afternoons and look at those people who have not shoveled their driveways or their walkways, and we knock on their door and ask, can we help shovel your path and your walkway? Because actually in the city of Minnesota, you can actually get fined for not doing it. Say, hey, look, can we help shovel? Not only because we want to see you safe, but we want to help. So we knock on doors with a shovel in hand, saying, look, can we help shovel? We'll shovel from your driveway to your walkway and in front if you need it. And we show that we're here to help. And a lot of times you know what we get asked? Why would you do that? People are very cautious why anyone would want to do anything for them these days. Why would you do that? You staking out my house, you casing the joint, you come back in. A lot of people think that automatically. You're breaking into my house. We say no. We're actually here to try to benefit we want to try to help the community. And we'll even go so far as explaining that we believe as part of our faith that helping other people is service to our Creator. So we want to just help you out and let us do it. And we do it, and we don't take money for it. Sometimes they try to pay. No, we don't want anything. We doing it for the service to our Creator. So those are small things that you can help do. Fall is coming, leaves are coming, yeah, right? You might know some people around your area or your neighborhood that are too old or might be ill to rake up all the leaves in their front yard. Put a team together and go around the area around the masjid and ask if you can be of any service or any help. Free yard cleanup. Just call us and let us know. Just call us and let us know you would like to have your yard cleaned up, and we'll come and do so as a service to the community that we live in. Does that make sense? Make a flyer. Get a flyer printed up that says free free yard cleaning, just call this number, put maybe the masjid community center, right? It's not just a masjid, it's a community center. And if the community center is not servicing the community, then it's just a center. You can't call yourself a community center if you do not service the community that is around you, inshaAllah ta'ala. I will open the floor for just a few questions. Forgive me that I took maybe a little bit longer than I wanted to. And again, my mind doesn't work the way that it has, you know, from knowing me in the past, and that's just due to the heavy medications that I'm on. Please make dua for me. I'm never going to say I have enough du'as yet, so please make dua that on October the 19th the surgery goes well. The surgeon has a very steady hand, because it is a normal procedure that is, you know, that is done quite regularly. But it's also a surgery that does come with a heavy dose of complications because of the fact they're going to cut a hole in the front of my neck, move all of this stuff out of the way, and be very close to my spinal cord and the nerves and spinal column and things of that nature. There is a put it this way: if it goes wrong, it goes really wrong. It's either really good for you, or if it goes bad, it's pretty bad. So please make dua for the success of that, inshaAllah ta'ala. And for those of you who were here how many people were here and heard my appeal at Jum'ah about the studio? Raise your hand. You heard my appeal, and how many of you were not here for Jum'ah and you did not hear the appeal? Okay, I'll very briefly go over it. While I'm down for 6 months after my surgery and not able to travel, unable to do much, I want to establish some initiatives that are going to affect positive change long after me, inshaAllah ta'ala, and get more youth involved. We want to create a studio. I want to set up a studio in Minneapolis that becomes a blueprint, a franchise blueprint that can be easily adapted anywhere in any community, where we're going to start producing programming. Not just me, it's not just going to be me. I'm going to get many people involved, inshaAllah ta'ala, that I know can help with this project, to have a heavy focus on da'wah to non-Muslims, but da'wah in a very holistic sense. Reverts, focusing on new Muslims and training programs for new Muslims that we want to help keep on the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and make them firm and strong believers. The youth, I'm going to start having sessions just for the youth that is actually going to be getting to them on their level and dealing with the problems that they face, that I know they face, but dealing with them on a very logical and rational level. A lot of our youth don't like to ask questions or problems because they normally get the automatic response of, no, haram, just get away, run away. No, we want to try to deal with them on their level, inshaAllah ta'ala, and affect some positive change, and as well as training the next generation of du'at. Training the next generation of du'at to not only help other people understand the deen of Allah and Tawheed and Islam, but also the things that I'm talking about, how to affect positive change in their communities. Because I'm going to be sitting, I know me, I'm going to lose my mind sitting around not being able to go anywhere for 3 to 4 to 6 months. I'm gonna lose it. So I wanted to busy myself, and this is the project that I'm going to work on, creating this studio that's going to become a blueprint, inshaAllah ta'ala. And the goal, the seed money for this project, we've calculated at 23, so I rounded it to $25,000 to rent a place, get equipment, get furnishings, get some brothers that are going to help me. Because one thing that I understand is that volunteer work is amazing, but if you want to have good work that you can hold people responsible for, you have to pay them. It's just the way things work. Volunteer work, you're going to get volunteer work, and if people don't show up, what can you say? They're volunteers. So I want to be able to hold people's feet to the fire. When I say I want stuff done, I want to be able to have that accountable, because I want it to function on more than just me. So to get all of that stuff up and running, we're going to start off with a seed money of $25K, and I've come to this community this weekend to ask anyone who wants to help with that. You're more than willing to do so. No form of fundraising. I can do formal fundraising for anybody, for any reason, but when it comes to asking for my own project, which this will be really the first time I've really ever officially asked for my own project, I'm very shy to do so. It's very hard for me to do so. But if you want to help you can help inshaAllah ta'ala. This is considered sadaqatul jariyah, meaning that it will be something that will continue to benefit you. If anyone is benefited by any of the initiatives that we begin to start, then you will get the reward for it inshaAllah ta'ala. So will I, even if we're dead and gone in our graves, because I want it to last beyond me. And also this is zakat eligible, because it is for the sake of da'wah, so it's zakat eligible as well, inshaAllah ta'ala. So if you want to help with this project, you can see me personally after the talk tonight. We can accept cash donations, check donations. Go to Yusha Evans Media. Yusha Evans Media is the name of the business that's been formulated around this. Or if you want to do credit card, I also have a machine with me that can do that. Or if you want to do it online, you can go to my website, yushaevans.com/donate for dawah. And if you forget the /donate for dawah, then there's a button as soon as you go on the home page that says donate, and you can choose either one-time donation, or you can do pledges like $50 a month, $100 a month. I think it's $250 a month, $500 or $1,000 to help this project, inshaAllah ta'ala. And make dua for success. I want it to be a project that doesn't need me, that's going to run in and of itself. And also after the first year, I want this project to be self-sufficient. I have some ideas in mind, which I haven't completed yet and haven't shared yet, but I will, that will make this project self-sufficient, where we won't need anything beyond the seed money, that it will function on its own after that, inshaAllah ta'ala. So if you want to support that project, please do so. We raised a little bit over 6,000 of the 25 during Salatul Jum'ah, and I would hope and like, inshaAllah ta'ala, to at least maybe reach halfway point before leaving here, because I only have one more opportunity. We are going to start a GoFundMe as well, inshaAllah ta'ala. But I didn't want to start a GoFundMe from zero. I wanted to say, look, at least I've went out and put out some effort myself, and now we've made it this far. So, because GoFundMe is easy, you just post it online, and and everyone else. I wanted to put some effort in myself. That's just kind of how I was raised. And the only other community I'm having a chance to go to, which is a very small community, before my surgery, I'm going to end where it began. I'm going back to Greenville, inshaAllah ta'ala, and my last trip will be where all of this started for me. So I'm going back to my hometown of Greenville on the first weekend of October 5th, 6th, and 7th, inshaAllah ta'ala, and that's where we will wrap up this whole project. So hopefully by that time we will have collected all of the seed money, because once I have surgery, for at least a month, I'm not going to be able to do very much. They've put me on so many restrictions. So if you want to help that project, please do so. Again, you can write a check to Yusha Evans Media. You can do through card donation or cash, or you can go online to yushaevans.com/donate for da'wah, and we will be updating all of you guys through the GoFundMe. Once the GoFundMe is open, we'll do all the updates to there so you can see the progress, inshaAllah ta'ala. Barakallahu feekum jami'ah. We will accept any few questions, and then after that, I'm going to go lay down, because the medicine is starting to take a full effect.
Jazakumullah khair. With dua. It's too loud, this one, huh? Okay, inshallah, if you have questions, please raise your hand. Make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives shifa to the Shaykh, inshallah, and make it easy for him, the procedure, inshallah.
It doesn't have to be just about what we talked about, the question, the general da'wah question, the general question of how we help the community, and you can ask those as well, inshallah.
Inshallah. For that purpose, actually, we're having a program called Meet Your Neighbors. It's starting soon, inshallah. So try to make that program and attend it. It's going to be Saturday, October 27th. Inshallah, you'll hear more. It's going to be from 2 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. where we invite our neighbors. They will have dinner with us, inshallah. We have a guest speaker who's coming. Everyone, at least, you have to bring your co-worker and your neighbor. Yes, inshallah. So make sure that you bring those, inshallah. Otherwise, tomorrow they will hold you accountable in front of Allah and say, this was my co-worker, this was my neighbor, and he never told me about Islam. So take that off your shoulder and bring them, inshallah, and we'll tell them about Islam.
Since it's time for Salah, we will hold the questions off tomorrow. But one thing I wanted to say about tomorrow's program, for the first 3/4 of the program is going to be a general program. And then I spoke to the Imam, please bring the youth tomorrow, because for the last part of the program before Salatul Isha, we are kicking out all adults. I've done this once before and it was very productive. I'm going to do it again. We're kicking out all the adults, and I'm going to have a session by myself with the youth with no microphone, no nothing, and going to do a small